Now let's move forward to question number 7. Question number 7 has two parts, A and B. Let's begin with question A. It says the sum of three numbers is 81. The second number is twice the first. Given that the third number is 6 more than the second, find the numbers. So let's have three numbers. Let's say the first number is X, the second number is Y, and the third number is Z. And the sum is equals to 81. Now, if you look closely to the second line, it says the second number, that is Y, is twice the first number. That means Y is equals to 2X. And given the third number is 6 more than the second. So if you subtract the second number from the third number, that's Z minus Y, we will have it equals to 6. So we have to find X, Y, and Z. So as you can see, we have three equations and three unknowns. So how do we solve this? Let's begin from the third equation and let us make Z solve the formula. So Z will be equals to 6 plus Y, and we can see now that Y here is equals to 2X. So if we substitute Y to be equals to 2X here, we will have an expression for Z in terms of X. So Z will be equals to 6 plus 2X. Now we can bring back this equation now. That is X plus Y plus Z is equals to 81. Now, wherever we see Y, we substitute 2X because Y is equals to 2X. And wherever we see Z, we substitute 6 plus 2X. So we'll have X plus 2X plus Z, which is 6 plus 2X, is equals to 81. So with this, we will have 3X, okay, plus 6 plus 2X is equals to 81. This will give us 5X plus 6 is equals to 81. So 5X will be equals to 81 minus 6. So we'll have that 5X is equals to 75. Then if we divide both sides by 5, we'll have that X is equals to 75 divided by 5. Therefore, X is equals to 15. Now, the first number is X is equals to 15. Now, let's proceed further to evaluating the second number. So from here, we can evaluate the value of Y, since Y is equals to 2X. And we know that X is equals to 15. So we substitute the value of X. And we'll have Y to be equals to 2 multiplied by 15. So Y will be equals to 30. And once we have Y to be equals to 30, we can go from here and evaluate the value of Z, since Z is equals to 6 plus Y. So we'll substitute the value of Y. So this will be 6 plus 30. So Z will be equals to 36. So the numbers are simple. We have X is equals to 15, Y is equals to 30, and Z is equals to 36. So let's write them in this conclusion. X is equals to 15, Y is equals to 30, and Z is equals to 36. So moving on, let's proceed to B part. The B part is a question that involves equation of line and also midpoint of a line. So let's go to a new page and begin with question B. The B, as I've said, is a question on equation of a line and midpoint of a line. So we're given 2 points. It says given the point P is equals to 3,5 and Q is minus 5,7 on the Cartesian plane. So let's draw that first, such that we'll have 3,5. Let's put it here, and minus 5,7. So this is point P which is 3, 5, and we'll call this point Q, okay, which is minus 5, 7. Now we are joining these two together. Now let's proceed back to the question. Given the point P is equals to 3, 5 and Q minus 5, 7 on the Cartesian plane such that R, which is x, y, is the midpoint of PQ. So let's have the midpoint at this location here, R, which is x, y. Now the questioner says find the equation of line that passes through R and it is perpendicular to PQ. So we are looking for the equation of the line that passes through R and it is perpendicular to PQ. So how do we go about this? So let's first write out all the requirements we need as regarding equation of the line. When we have 1 point, when we're given 1 point, just 1 point, the equation of the line is gotten by y minus y1 divided by x minus x1 is equals to m, where m is the gradient. Now if we are given 2 points and we are asked to find the equation of the line, we will evaluate it by saying y minus y1 divided by x minus x1 is equals to y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. Now the general format of equation of a line, is given as y is equals to mx plus c, where m is the gradient and c is the y-intercept. Now there's one thing interesting about lines. When we have two lines that are parallel, so we have a parallel lines, okay, let me use that sign. We have parallel lines, this is 1 and this is 2. We are saying that the gradient of 1 is equals to the gradient of 2. However, when we have perpendicular lines, so I can have a line 1 here and another line 2 here, such that they are perpendicular, then the gradient of equation 1 is equals to, or the product, let us say the product m1 m2 is equals to minus 1. So with this set of informations now, we can now solve the problem. So let's look at this now. We are looking for the equation of line R. We do not know the point, but we know that the line is perpendicular to line PQ. So yes, we are going to use this formula here. So the first thing we will do is to find the points here, midpoint, and we will use this equation because we are given 1 point. However, the gradient m will be related to this gradient here. So the first thing is to evaluate the midpoint of the line. So let's evaluate the midpoint of the line now. The midpoint of line, midpoint, is given by the sum of the points, that's x1 plus x2 divided by 2, y1 plus y2 divided by 2. Now we are considering the point P, which is 3, 5, and Q, which is minus 5, 7. So we can say this is x1, this is y1, this is x2, and this is y2. So let's substitute and find the midpoint R. The midpoint R now will be x1, 3, plus x2, minus 5, divided by 2. Y1 is 5, plus y2, 7, divided by 2. And this will have 3 minus 5, divided by 2, and we'll have 12, divided by 2. 3 minus 5 is equivalent to minus 2. So I can just change this to minus 2. And we'll have minus 1, 6. So the point R is minus 1 comma 6, and which is the point we are going to use to evaluate the equation of the line. Now once we have this equation of the line, the next thing to do now is to evaluate the gradient, because now we have x1, we have y1, but we do not have m. Now let us evaluate the gradient. Now to evaluate the gradient, we have to know the gradient of this line. So let's call this m1, and we'll use m1 to evaluate m2 using the relation that m1 m2 is equals to minus 1, because they are perpendicular lines. So now let's evaluate m1. The general formula for gradient, m is equals to y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. Now to evaluate the gradient, we are going to go back here and see what is our y2, what is our y1. So the gradient is moving in this direction, as you can see. So we're expecting it to be a negative answer. So this will be our x1, our y1, and this will be our x2 and our y2. So that means we are saying y2 is equals to 5 and y1 is equals to 7. x2 is equals to 3 and x1 is minus 5. So therefore this will result into minus 2 divided by 8, and we will have it to give us minus 1 over 4. Now this is the equation of the line PQ, so we will tag it as M1. Okay, so this is the equation of the line PQ M1. Now to evaluate M2, now we are going to use the perpendicular equation of line. So M1 M2 is equals to minus 1. Therefore M2, okay, M2 will be equals to minus 1 divided by M1. So we have evaluated M1 to be minus 1 over 4. So this will be minus 1 divided by minus 1 over 4. And this would give us 4. So now we have the equation of the line M2 is equals to 4. Now, if you go back now and see what we have here, we have y1, we have x1 to be the midpoint, and m2 to be the gradient. Now we can find the equation of the line. So equation of the line given one point is given as y minus y1 divided by y divided by x minus x1 to be equals to m. Now the x1 comma y1 is the midpoint of the line. So we are saying r, which is 1 comma 6, and this will be x1 and this will be y1, and m now is equals to 4. So if you substitute the equation now, or the values of x1, y1 and m, so y minus y1, which is 6, x minus x1, which is 1, is equals to 4. So with this we can cross multiply. So we'll have y minus 6 is equals to 4 into x minus 1. Y minus 6 is equals to 4x minus 4. So in view of this, y minus 6, we will bring minus 6 to the right hand side. So we have y is equals to 4x minus 4 plus 6. So we'll have y is equals to 4x plus 2. So with this we have the equation of the line. No, I think we made a mistake. The equation of the line, the point is minus 1 comma 6. Minus 1 comma 6. So this is minus 1. So when we substituted the value, it will be minus 1. Okay, and when it gets here, it becomes plus. So it becomes plus 4, and we will have plus 10. So the equation of the line is y is equals to 4x plus 10. Now let's proceed to the next question. Now let's solve 2023 question 9, the theory section. We have solved a similar question like this in 2022. Now let's proceed. We are given a table that shows the height of a tree, and the number of trees harvested. Okay, the first question we say is we should find the median height. The second question says we should find the mean and the standard deviation. So let's just write all the formulas we will need on the right hand side. So the median is given by 1/2 n plus 1 position, where n will be given as the summation of f. Okay, in the same vein, the mean will be given as summation f of x divided by summation f, and the standard deviation, which is the square of the variance or square root of variance, is given as the square root of summation f of x minus x bar squared divided by summation f. So these are the formulas we'll be using. Now let's begin with question 1, which is the median. So to get the median, we have to know what is summation f. So definitely we'll just have to sum 4 plus 6 plus 4 plus 5 plus 6 and plus 2. Now when we sum up this together, we'll have summation f to give us 27. So I can write it down here that summation f is equals to 27. So let me apply the formula of median as we have here, which is question A. So median is equals to 1/2. Okay, let's zoom in. 1/2 into n plus 1 position. So n in this case is 27th position. So we have 1/2 into 27 plus 1 position. Since it's a group data, we'll have it at the half of 28th position, which is the 14th position. So if it is at the 14th position, then we come down here and we will add all this together. So 4 plus 6 is 10. So this is the 10th position. Then if we add another 4, we'll have it to be at the 14th position. At this point, we'll have the 14th position. So we'll have the median to be equals to 5. Median height is equals to 5. So let's write it out and say the median height is equals to 5. Median height is equals to 5 meters. Now let's proceed on to B. Now the B says we should find the mean. Now the formula of the mean involves f of x. So therefore we will have to evaluate f of x. So that means we are multiplying these two together. So 3 multiplied by 4 will have 12. 4 multiplied by 6 will have 24. 5 multiplied by 4 will have 20. 6 multiplied by 5, 30. 7 multiplied by 6 will have 42. This is 30. And 8 multiplied by 2 will have 16. Now when we sum up this together, that's 12 plus 24 plus 20 plus 30 plus 42 plus 16. We'll have it to give us 114. So let's use a blue red ink to write out that summation f of x is equals to 114. So with that, we can easily apply the formula of our mean and say that our mean, let's use the next side, B, mean is equals to the summation of f of x divided by summation f. So the summation f of x is 144 and summation f is 27. So summation f of x 144, summation f is 27. If we use our calculator for this, we'll have 5.33 meters. So the mean is usually represented by x bar. So x bar mean is equals to 5.33 meters. Now let's proceed on to the last question, where we are asked to find standard deviation. Now if we look at the standard deviation format, we have x bar, and we understood now that x bar is equals to 5.33 meters. So we'll be using 5.3 for our calculations. So x bar is equals to 5.3 meters. So the first thing we'll do is evaluate x minus x bar followed by x minus x bar squared, then we'll multiply it by f. So what I'm saying is, what we are doing is x, we'll have x minus x bar, we will square it. Okay, we will square it. Once we square it, we will now have it multiplied by the frequency. So let's complete this table together now. Remember that x bar is equals to 5.3. So x minus x bar, let's begin. So this is our x and this is our frequency. So 3 minus 5.3, we'll have minus 2.3. 4 minus 5.3, we'll have 1.3 minus 1.3 minus 2.3. 4 minus 5.3 minus 1.3. 5 minus 5.3, we'll have minus 0.3. 6 minus 5.3, we'll have 0.7. 7 minus 5.3, we'll have 1.7. And 8 minus 1.3, we'll have 2.7. So with this now, we'll square this. So minus 2.3 squared, this will give us 5.29, 1.69, 0.09, 0.49. 1.7 squared is 2.89. 2.7 squared is 7.29. Now once we have squared this, now we are going to multiply this column and this column together to have this final column. So that means we are saying 4 multiplied by 5.29, we'll have 21.16. 6 multiplied by 1.69, we'll have 10.14. 4 multiplied by 0.09, we'll have 0.36. And 5 multiplied by 0.49, this will give us 2.45. 6 multiplied by 2.89, we'll have 17.34. And 2 multiplied by 7.29, we will have it to give us 14.58. Now going back to the formula, we have to know summation of f of x minus x bar squared. So that means we are going to sum everything here, plus, 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 and plus. So summing it all together, 21.16 plus 10.14 plus 0.36 plus 2.48 plus 17.34 plus 14.58. We use a calculator, we'll have summation of x minus x bar squared, and this will give us 63.58. So now we can now evaluate our standard deviation. So we'll use the formula for standard deviation. The formula says standard deviation SD is equals to the square root of summation f of x minus x bar squared divided by summation f. So this is I and this is II. Now the summation of f of x minus x bar squared is 68.58 and summation f is equals to 27. So we'll just make the substitution and this will give us the square root of 68.58 divided by 27, and we'll have this to give us 2.354, which is equals to 1.53. So the standard deviation is equals to 1.53. Now you can see that all our calculations for these questions were just based on this table. So we found the median height, the mean, and the standard deviation. SD. Now let's proceed on to question number 10. Now this is a question on bearing and distance, on navigation and bearing. So let's just chip it in and we call ourselves on what is needed. So we know that angles will start from this side in an anti-clockwise direction. This is the direction of angle. However, bearing with the demarcation of north, south, east and west, we will know that it is starting from the north in the clockwise direction. So this is bearing. So for the angles, we have 0 degrees to 90 degrees to 180 to 270 down back to 360 degrees. But for the bearing, this is 0 degrees, 90 degrees, 180 degrees, 270 degrees back to the north, which is 360 degrees. So we'll use this as our mode of solving this question. So let's begin. The question reads, in a town, Chief X excuse me, resides 60 meters away on a bearing of 057 degrees from the palace P, while Chief Y resides on a bearing of 150 degrees from the same palace P. The residents of X and Y are 180 meters apart. So the first thing is to illustrate this information in a diagram. All right, now what we are saying is that there is a palace P, there's Chief X here, the distance between Chief X and the palace is 60 meters, and there's Chief Y here, and the distance between there is unknown, and the distance between X and Y is 150 degrees. Sorry, is 180 meters. So the bearing between the palace and the X is 57 degrees. However, the bearing between the palace and Chief Y, that means the distance, the angle from here to here, is 150 degrees. This is not the diagram, this is just a sketch. So we are going to apply the sketch. Let's use the sketch now, and it will be a guide for us. I want to move this. I don't know if it's appropriate. So with this, we have it here. You can compress, so that will just be a guide for us. Let's have X here and 180 degrees back. So let's begin now and draw the diagram fully. Now we are using the palace as a main focus, so we'll have a palace P. Now the first line of question says Chief X resides 50 meters away on a bearing of 57 degrees. Now 57 degrees is between 0 degrees and 90 degrees. And just write a very small 0 degrees and 90 degrees. So we can say that 57 degrees, let's use anything that concerns Chief X in blue. So 57 degrees is going to be about here. So we are saying that the angle from here to here is 57 degrees. So let's extend as needed to this point, and we'll call this Chief X. Now the distance between point palace P and Chief X is 60 meters. So the distance between them is 60 meters. Now let's move forward. The second line of question says, while Chief Y resides on a bearing of 150 degrees. So we are saying that Chief Y resides on a bearing of 150 degrees, knowing that if this is 0 degrees, 90 degrees, this will be 180 degrees. So Chief Y, 180 degrees will be somewhere here between 90 and 180 degrees. So with this, we will have it to be somewhere here, such that the angle between this place and this place is 150 degrees. So with this, we can extend as appropriate. So we have it extended now here. And then we will have Chief Y. Now If that is chief y, we do not know the distance, so we'll just call it x meters. What's happening? Okay, what's going on? Okay, so we'll just call it x meters. Now the distance between chief x and chief y, which we'll join together here, is 180 meters. So this is 180 meters. So this is xy, 180 meters. Now we have drawn it, we have illustrated this in a diagram now, but we have not yet completed it because we have not yet allocated the angles. So we come back here, and since we know that the distance between this base and here is 90 degrees, and we have 57 degrees here, so the remaining angles, okay, here would be 90 minus 57. So 90 minus 57 degrees is equals to 90 degrees minus 57 degrees is equals to 33 degrees. In the same way, if here is 90 degrees, so the angle here will be 150 degrees minus 90 degrees. So we'll have this to be 60 degrees. Now we have 60 degrees and we have 33 degrees. So with this, we have the total angle at point P. Okay, total angle at point P, which will be 60 plus 33 degrees, and here we'll have 93 degrees. So once we have that, now we can summarize all this into this triangle, that we have something like this. Okay, where we have the palace, we have x and chief y. The distance between x y is 180 meters. The distance between px is 60 meters. We don't know the distance here, but however we know the angle between here, which is 93 degrees. So with this illustration now, we have illustrated it in the diagram. That means we have solved for question A. Now moving on to question B. The question says we should find the bearing of x from y. So we are coming to y because it's from y. So this is the position of x. So we are looking for the bearing of x from y. So we are looking for this value down from here to this point. So how do we solve this now? So to solve this, we understand that bearing is read 0 degrees, 90 degrees, 180 degrees, 270 degrees, and back to 360 degrees. Now, what is this angle here? And what is this angle here? Theta. So with this now, let's go back to the full diagram. We understand that this space is 60 degrees. So if this space is 60 degrees, then according to alternate angles, we will also have 60 degrees. But then how do we evaluate theta? That's the question. So because we understand now that the bearing, that means we are moving to question B, the bearing of x from y, let's write it in full, bearing of x from y is equals to 270 degrees that we have here, plus 60 degrees that we evaluated now, plus theta, which is unknown. And we'll understand that the same theta that is there is the same theta that is here. Now, how do we evaluate theta? Now, this means we are going to apply sine rule here. Now, let us apply sine rule. Applying sine rule, let's refresh our mind on sine rule. It means that if you have a triangle A, B, and C with lengths AB, okay, C respectively, and we can call this angle A, we can call this angle B, and call this angle C. So we are saying that sine rule states that this is A, that A divided by sine of A is equals to B divided by sine B is equals to C divided by sine C. I adjourn you to go and watch the lessons on trigonometry. We dealt extensively, okay, extensively on sine rule. Now, without further ado, let's replicate this triangle, this diagram that we have here. So let's replicate this x, y, and p. So we have something like this: p going to x, p going to y, x coming to y. P, x, and y. Distance between x, y is 180 meters. The distance between px is 60 meters. And the distance, and the distance angle here is 93 degrees, and the angle here is theta. And the question is, how do we evaluate theta? Now we are looking for angle theta, where angle theta is opposite to 60 meters. So applying this law now, let's label it appropriately. So we can label this point P, or letter P. P is equal to 180 meters, and Y is equal to 60 meters. So we can simply replicate this law now, and instead of saying A over sine A, we can say P divided by sine P is equals to X divided by sine X is equals to Y divided by sine Y. So with this, we are looking for angle Y. Y is theta. So this is what we are looking for. Okay, and we have Y to be 60 meters. We have P to be 180 meters, and we have P to be 90 degrees. But we do not have the side, and nor do we have the angle of X. So with this, we can evaluate theta now by using P divided by sine P is equals to Y divided by sine Y. We understand that P is equals to 180 meters. Y is equals to 60 meters. Angle Y is equals to theta that we are looking for, and angle P is equals to 93 degrees. So we make our substitution to find the value of theta. So P now, this is 93 degrees. P is 180 meters. So that's 180 divided by sine P, that's sine 93 degrees, is equals to Y. This is sine Y, capital letter, is equals to Y, which is 60 divided by sine Y, which is sine theta. Now we can now cross multiply to evaluate sine theta now. So for sine theta, making sine theta solve the formula, this will become 60 multiplied by sine 93 degrees divided by 180. So 60 multiplied by sine 360, or sine 93 degrees, will give us 0.9986 divided by 180. And we will have sine theta to give us altogether 0.3328. Just as we have learned in trigonometry, we will have inverse sine or arc sine of sine to give us theta. So this will be 0.3328, and we'll have theta to be equals to 19.44 degrees. Now, once we have evaluated theta now, we can now go back to the expression of bearing of x from y. So we'll duplicate this now so that we can evaluate the bearing of x from y. And that means wherever we see theta, okay, we'll just change it to 19.44 degrees. So this is 270 plus 60 degrees plus 19.44 degrees. And this will be equals to 349.44 degrees. So the bearing of x from y is 349.44 degrees. Now let's proceed on to the next question. The next question says we should find the distance between P and Y. So we are looking for distance x, distance between P and Y. So let's draw this diagram again on the next page, or we can just as well duplicate it if it's going to be convenient. But let's do this. Let's just duplicate onto the next page. So with this now, we are looking for sine side x, and we know that theta here is equals to 19.44 degrees. Now, how do we find side x? We are going to evaluate side x using cosine rule, and let's refresh our mind on cosine rule. In cosine rule, when we have these angles, we have A, we have B, and we have C. In the same way, we have side A, side B, and side C, with angle A, angle B, and angle C. So in cosine rule, we establish the fact that c squared is equals to a squared plus b squared minus 2ac rather, cos c. Similarly, a squared is equals to b squared plus c squared minus 2bc cos a, and b squared is equals to a squared plus c squared minus 2ac cosine b. So in view of that, now let's label this just as we did previously. We are looking for x squared. So applying x squared formula now. So we have x squared will be equals to p squared plus y squared, okay, minus 2py cos x. Now the question is, now can we use this formula? I believe we should be able to use this formula because we can now evaluate angle x. Okay, because this is length p is equals to 180, y is equals to 60. We have p, we have y, and this angle x is simply this angle x. So now let's evaluate angle x first. So to evaluate angle x now, we will apply the principle of sum of angles in a triangle. That's 93 degrees plus 19.44 degrees plus x is equals to 180 degrees. Why? The sum of angles in a triangle is equals to 180 degrees. So 93 plus 19.44 is equals to 112.44 plus x is equals to 180 degrees. So we have x now to be equals to 180 minus 112.44, and this would give us 67.57 degrees, 56 rather. So with this now, we can now apply the formula of x so that we'll find the length of p and q. So let's begin. Applying x squared is equals to p squared plus y squared minus 2py cos x. So now let's substitute our values. So we'll have x squared, p is 180, y is equals to 60 minus 2 multiplied by 180 multiplied by 60, and we're going to multiply this by x, which is cos 67.56 degrees. So in view of that, 180 squared is 32,400, 60 squared is 3,600, and 2 multiplied by 180 multiplied by 60 is 21,600, and we are multiplying it by 0.3817. So summing these two together, we will have 32,400 plus 3,600. So this will give us 36,000 minus 21,600 multiplied by 0.3817, and we will have 8244.72. And if we subtract the answer from 36,000, we will have 27755.28. Now this is equivalent to x squared, and x squared. So we can find x by taking the square root of 27755. Okay, let's rewrite this. 27755.28, and we have x to be equals to 166.59. 166.599 meters. So we can approximate x to give us 166.6 meters. So with this, we have found the value of py to be equals to 166.6 meters. So we can see it's a lengthy explanation because we try to combine navigation and bearing together that we did here, and then we move to the application of sine rule, and then we applied cosine rule. Remember, this is question II. Now, if you want more understanding on this subject, please go ahead to our trigonometric series and you'll learn about sine rule and all applications of trigonometry. Now let's proceed further to question 11. The question says, two regular polygons P and Q are such that the number of sides of P is twice the number of sides of Q. The difference between the exterior angle of Q and P is 45 degrees. We should find the number of sides of P. Now, to fully understand this question, round A now, is that we have to write out all the formulas involved in polygon. So in polygon, we know that the sum of interior angles is equals to n minus 2 multiplied by 180 degrees. And the sum of exterior angles is equals to 360 degrees. Now, given the sum is equals to 360 degrees, then exterior angle itself, E, is equals to 360 degrees divided by the number of sides n. Now, let's apply these three concepts, and we have one extra one, which is very important, that the sum of interior angle and the exterior angle is equals to 180 degrees. But I don't think we'll be applying this in this question. So let's begin. We're given two polygons. We're given polygon P and also we're given polygon Q. And in polygon Q, we have the number of sides NP, and in polygon Q, we have the number of sides NQ. Yep, NQ. Similarly, in polygon P, we have the exterior angle P and also exterior angle Q. So we are given in the question that the number of sides of P, NP, is twice the number of sides of Q. That's NP is equals to 2 NQ. In the same vein, the difference between the exterior angle of Q, that's EQ, and P, that's EP, is equals to 45 degrees. The question asks us to find the number of sides NP. Now, how do we go about this? We are given NP is equals to 2 NQ and EQ minus EP is equals to 45. Now let's proceed. This is relatable. So now let's apply this principle now. That is, the exterior angle of a polygon is equals to 360 divided by n. So in essence, we are saying that the exterior angle of Q will be equals to 360 degrees divided by the number of sides of Q. And similarly, the exterior angle of P will be equals to 360 degrees divided by the number of sides of P. So with this, we can substitute them. We know that the exterior angle of Q is 360 divided by NQ, and the exterior angle of P is 360 degrees divided by NP, which is equals to 45 degrees. Now we want to make NP subject of formula. Okay, we have to make NP subject of formula because we are looking for NP. However, we can choose to find NQ first and then we'll just substitute the value. So I think we should just find NP first, NQ rather. So let's substitute the value of NP to be equals to 2 NQ. So this we have 360 degrees divided by NQ minus 360 degrees divided by NP is 2 NQ. divided by 2nq, and this will be equals to 45 degrees. So in view of this will nullify this and we'll be left with 180 degrees nq minus 360 degrees minus nq is equals to 45 degrees. So in view of this, we can take the LCM. The LCM is nq, and this will be 360 degrees minus 180 degrees to be equals to 45 degrees. So 360 degrees minus 180 degrees is equals to 180 degrees, and if we cross multiply, we will have 45 degrees multiplied by nq. So in view of this now, we will have nq to be equals to 180 degrees divided by 45 degrees, and nq is equals to 4. So the number of sides of polygon q is equals to 4. Now with that, we can now take np. Now we can now evaluate np and say, since np is equals to 2nq, okay, we're going from here. Since np is equals to 2nq, then the number of sides of polygon p will be 2 multiplied by 4. So the number of sides of p is equals to 8. So we have solved the first question, and all we just did was to apply this formula, that exterior angle is equals to 360 degrees divided by the number of sides. Now let's proceed further to the second question, question B. In the second question, we're given that the area of a semicircle is equals to 32 pi centimeter squared. We should find in terms of pi the circumference of a semicircle. Now let's begin. The area of a circle is given by what formula? Area of circle is equals to pi r squared. Now if we know that semicircle is half of a circle, so the area of semicircle will be equals to 1/2 pi r squared. Now in the same vein, the circumference of a circle is given as 2 pi r, and therefore the circumference of a semicircle will be half of this. That's half multiplied by 2 pi r, and this will give us pi r. Okay, there's the space, which is equals to pi r. So now the question asks us to find the circumference of the semicircle, and we are given this area of semicircle. So the area of semicircle was 32 pi centimeter squared. So we equate it to this to find the radius. So 1/2 pi r squared. So pi will nullify pi. Okay, let's use this. Pi will nullify pi, and if we cross multiply, we will be left with 32 multiplied by 2 to be equals to r squared. 32 multiplied by 2 is 64. 64 is equals to r squared. Then r will be equals to the square root of 64. Then we have the radius to be equals to 8 centimeters. So in view of this now, what then is the circumference of the semicircle? Now the circumference of a semicircle is not just pi r. So let's draw the circle to explain that point. So now we have a circle. Let's reduce the size. And if we have half of the circle, so the perimeter or the circumference of a semicircle will be the length of this, that's this pi r, which is pi r, and there will be an addition of the diameter, which is equals to 2r. So with this, we understand that the perimeter, the circumference of a semicircle will be equals to pi r plus 2r. So when we factorize this with r, it will be pi plus 2. So making our substitution now, we know that our radius is equals to 8 centimeters. So the circumference of the semicircle will be equals to 8 into pi plus 2 centimeters. You can choose to open up the bracket and say this will give us 8 pi plus 16 centimeters. Now let's proceed further to question number 12, which is the second to the last question on the Wassce 2023 section theory, theory section rather. So we're given this diagram, and diagram PQRS a point on the circle with center O. Now QR is parallel to OS, so we can see the parallel signs with OS. So moving on, we're also given that QOR, that is this angle here, 2M, is equals to 2M, and likewise angle QPR is equals to N. SOR is equals to 54 degrees. We should find the values of P, of M, and N. So now let's find the values of M and N. So in view of that, how do we proceed? Now let's look closely to these angles now. If these two lines are parallel to each other, then we will have that this angle here is equals to 54 degrees. Why are we saying it's 54 degrees? Because they are alternate angles. Now, if that is 54 degrees, let me just write it well. And we have 54 degrees, alternate angles. Now, if that is 54 degrees, then OR is equals to the radius of the circle. Similarly, OQ is also equals to the radius of the circle. So this is equals to this. Now, that means we have an isosceles triangle. With that, we are saying that OQR also is equals to 54 degrees. Because base angles of isosceles triangles are equal. Now with this, we can find the value of M. So let's proceed and find the value of M, and let us write out our inferences out first. So the first thing we did was to establish the fact that angle ORQ is equals to 54 degrees. Why? Alternate angles. And similarly, angle ORQ is equals to angle OQR. The reason, base angles of isosceles triangle, base angles of isosceles triangle is equal. Okay, so in view of that, this is equals to 54 degrees. So now let us consider triangle OQR. Let's consider triangle OQ or QOR, as the case may be. So we are saying that we have three angles now, 54 degrees, 54 degrees, and 2M. So in view of that, 54 degrees plus 54 degrees plus 2M is equals to 180 degrees. And the reason here is that the sum of angles in a triangle, sum of angles in a triangle is equals to 180 degrees. So with that, 54 degrees plus 54 degrees will have 108 degrees plus 2M is equals to 180 degrees. So 2M is equals to 180 degrees minus 108 degrees, and 2M will be equals to 72 degrees, and M will be equals to 72 divided by 2 degrees, given M is equals to 36 degrees. Now we have found the value of M. Let's now find the value of N. Now let's go back to the diagram to evaluate the value of M. Now we will notice something. The arc QR, this arc, projects an angle to the center of 2M, and the same arc projects an angle to the circumference of N. So we'll call this angle at circumference and we'll call this angle at center. Now, there is a principle in circle geometry. When we have a circle with an arc AB which projects an angle to the center, and the same arc projects an angle to the circumference, theta, let's call this alpha, and the angle at center is equals to 2 times angle at circumference. So theta, which is angle at center, is equals to 2 times alpha, which is angle at circumference. So the same principle holds here, where angle at center 2m is equals to 2 times angle at circumference n. So we are saying that angle, we're using circle geometry now. Using circle geometry, we are saying that angle at center, which is 2m, is equals to angle at 2 times angle at circumference. Okay, at circumference, which is equals to 2 multiplied by n. So in view of this, we have m to be equals to n when we divide both sides by 2. So if m is equals to 36 degrees, then n is also equals to 36 degrees. So we have found the value of m and also found the value of n. Now let's proceed to the next question, which is question B. Now the question says the length of a rectangle is 4 centimeters more than the width. If the perimeter is 40 meters, we should find the area. So the first thing we should do is to draw this rectangle. Drawing the rectangle, we have the length and we have the width. The perimeter, okay, as given, is equals to 40 centimeters, and the length minus the width, because the length is more than the width, is equals to 4 centimeters. So what is the formula for perimeter? Perimeter is equals to 2 multiplied by L plus B. So if we substitute the value of perimeter, we will have that 40 is equals to 2 into length plus breadth. So with this, if we divide both sides by 2, we will have that 20 is equals to length plus breadth. Now this time we are using width and width, W and W. So now we are looking for the area, but for us to know the area, the formula for area is equals to length times width. So for us to know the area, we must know the value of the length and also the value of the width. So to get the value of the length and width, we are going to use these two equations. So we'll call this equation 1, I'll call this equation 1, and also call this equation 2. So let's write them out together. Equation 1 says length plus width is equals to 20, and equation 2 says length minus width is equals to 4. So with this now, how do we solve this simultaneous equation? It's two equations, two unknown. So we can sum them up together using elimination method. So when we sum these two together, we will have 2L, W and plus W and minus W will nullify each other, and we will be left with 20 plus 4, which is 24. Therefore, L will be 24 divided by 2, and L will be equals to 12 centimeters. Now we have found L to be equals to 12 centimeters. So we can go now from equation 1. Okay, from equation 1, that L plus W is equals to 20, and in view of that, let's find W. W will be equals to 20 minus L. So that is 20 minus 12, and W will be equals to 8 centimeters. Now we have found length to be 12 centimeters and width to be equals to 8 centimeters, and we are looking for area. So let us evaluate the area now, which is length times width. Length times width. Okay, so the length is 12 the width is 8. So multiplying these two together, we will have 96 centimeters squared to be the area. So we have solved question B and as well as question A. Let's proceed to the final question, which is question 13. Now we are proceeding on to WAEC 2023 theory question 13. So this is the final question in the theory section. Now we're given a diagram. It says the radius of the circle of center O is 7 centimeters. So we have 7 centimeters as the radius. The circle is of center O. Now moving on, it said angle MON is 60 degrees. So we have MON to be 60 degrees. And we should find to one decimal place the area of the shaded portion. Now, the area of the shaded portion is this point here. Let's call it shaded. Now we have a triangle here. And this place is definitely a sector. Alright, so what is the length of the radius? If this is 7 centimeters, then definitely this is also 7 centimeters. So to evaluate the area of the shaded portion, we have to take the area of the whole sector, okay, because this whole thing here is a sector. So we will say the area of shaded portion, let's write it out. Area of shaded portion is equals to the area of the whole sector is equals to area of the whole sector. So the sector is called sector OPNMT. Sector OPNMT. Sector. We are going to subtract the area of triangle from it, and also we are going to subtract the area of the small sector, which is sector OPN. So what is the formula for area of sector now? So if you come here, the area of sector that we are applying is theta divided by 360 multiplied by pi r squared. Okay, r is equals to 7 centimeters and theta is equals to what? If you come here now, we will see now that if the total angle here is 90 degrees, okay, is a quadrant, then definitely the remaining angle here will be what? 30 degrees. So we have theta to be equals to 30 degrees. Now for the triangle, the area of the triangle is half base times height. So we do not have the base B, okay, and we do not have the height H. So we have to evaluate them from 7 centimeters using SOHCAHTOA. So let's begin. What is the area of this sector OPMT? So let's duplicate this so that we will have our focus. And duplicate. So area of this OPMT sector, if we draw the sector out now, we have something like this. That's the whole diagram itself with angles 90 degrees and the radius is 7 centimeters. Yeah, 7 centimeters. So with this, we can apply the formula for area of sector and say that area of sector is equals to theta divided by 360 degrees multiplied by pi r squared. Remember, we are taking pi to be equals to 22 over 7. So this is 90 divided by 360 degrees multiplied by pi, which is 22 over 7, multiplied by r squared, which is 7 squared. So if we simplify this, we will have that the area of this sector is going to give us 38.5 centimeters squared, which is the area of sector OPNMT. Now let's proceed further to the area of sector OPN. So let's duplicate this and let's find the area of sector OPN. So we are looking at the sector OPM that looks something like this. So we have this. It's right angled. So if we look closely to this now, we can see that theta is equal to 30 degrees and r is equal to 7 centimeters. Theta is 30 degrees. 30 degrees, 7 centimeters. So we have theta to be equal to 30 degrees, r is 7 centimeters. So with this, we can evaluate the area of sector OPN. So this area now, we will apply the same formula of area of sector, 360 multiplied by pi r squared. So the angle theta is 30 degrees divided by 360 multiplied by pi, 22 over 7 multiplied by r, which is 7 squared. If we use our calculator for this, we will have 12.833 centimeters squared. So we have this area to be this. Now the final thing we have to know is the area of this triangle. So let us duplicate the area of triangle and we will evaluate that. Duplicate. Now let's evaluate area of triangle. So the thing we will do now is to draw this triangle out. Remember, we do not have the base and we do not have the height. So the triangle is a right angle triangle with base B, height h, and length hypotenuse of 7 centimeters. The angle for this triangle, we can see, is 60 degrees. So this is 60 degrees. Now considering 60 degrees, h is the side facing the angle, which is the opposite. We will have our hypotenuse and also the adjacent. So how do we find the height and how do we find the base? So that means we are going to apply the trigonometric ratio of SO Quadrature, where sine is equal to opposite over hypotenuse, cos is adjacent over hypotenuse, and tan is opposite over adjacent. So if we begin, tan theta is equal to opposite over adjacent. So in this case, we are saying tan 60 degrees, okay, is equals to opposite over adjacent, which is h over b. H over b. So we'll change this to 60 degrees. In the same vein, sine 60 degrees is opposite over hypotenuse. According to SO, sine is opposite over hypotenuse. So the opposite is h and the hypotenuse is 7. So, and finally, cos 60 degrees is equals to adjacent divided by hypotenuse. According to cos is adjacent over hypotenuse. The adjacent is b and the hypotenuse is 7. So with these three now, obviously we cannot evaluate h and b here, but we can evaluate h and we can evaluate b. So from here, if we cross multiply, we will have our h is equals to 7 sine 60 degrees. That's the height. And if we cross multiply here, we'll have that our base is equals to 7 cos 60 degrees. So multiplying forward, we'll have the h to give us 7 multiplied by sine 60 degrees is 0.8660 and cos 60 degrees is 0.5. So we'll have our base to be equals to 6.062 centimeters and our height to be equals to 3.5 centimeters. So in view of this, we can evaluate the area of triangle. Area of triangle using the formula of r base times height. So our base is 3.5 as we have evaluated. 1 over 2 multiplied by 3.5 and our height is 6.062, and if you multiply this out, we will have the answer for the area to be equals to 10.6085 centimeters squared. So having evaluated the area of triangle, we have evaluated the area of sector OPN and the area of sector OPNMT. We can now evaluate the area of shaded portion. So if we duplicate this now, let's duplicate what we have here, and we can erase this. Now, what is the area of OPNT? Is 38.5. So we have 38.5. And the area of triangle is 10.6085. 10.6085. And the area of sector OPN, remember it is 10, sector OPN, which we evaluated, is 12.833. Let's erase this first. Is 10. So we have 12.833, and the unit is centimeter squared. So using our calculator to simplify this, we will have our final answer to be 15.0585 centimeter squared, and which will approximate to give us 0.1 centimeter squared, because we are correcting to 1 decimal place. So you can see it's a very simple question, and it just involves application of area of sector and area of triangle. Now let's proceed further to question B. Question B says the x and y intercept of a straight line are -3/4 and 2/7. So we are given the x intercept to be equals to -3/4. Likewise, we are given the y intercept to be equals to 2/7. So we should find the equation of the line. So to do this, let's draw a sketch of the line using the x and y intercepts. So we can see the x intercept is negative, which is -3/4. Okay, what's happening? Okay, good. And -3/4 will be about here. It's comma 0. That's the x-intercept, and the y-intercept is 2/7. So it will be 0 on the x-axis and 2/7 on the y-axis. So if we join these lines together now, or join these points together, we will have the line that we are talking about. So we are looking for the equation of this line. So to get the equation of this line, we will use y is equals to mx plus c, which is the general format of equation of a line. If we are given 2 points, we will have y minus y1 divided by x minus x2 minus x1 is equals to x2 minus x1. So is equals to y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. And if we are given just a single point, we will have y minus y1 divided by x minus x1 is equals to gradient m. So we can establish that the gradient m is equals to y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. So these are the formulas involved in evaluating the equation of the line. Now, according to this now, we have 2 points. We have -3,4, and we also have 0,2/7. So in view of this, the line is moving upwards. So this will be our x1, y1, and we will have here our x2, y2. So in view of this, we will just use the formula that involves 2 lines, 2 points, to evaluate the equation of the line, which is y minus y1 divided by x minus x1 is equals to y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. So all we just have to do is substitute the values of x1, y1, x2 and y2. So let's begin with x1, y1. So this will be y. Anywhere we see y1, we put 0, just as we have here. And everywhere we see x1, we put minus 3 over 4. So this will be x minus 3 over 4 is equals to y2 is 2 over 7 and x2 is equals to 0. So we have y2 to be equals to 3 over 7, 2 over 7, and y1 is what we evaluated to be 0, as we have here. And x2 is 0 and x1 is minus 3 over 4. So with this now, we can simplify further. So we'll have y minus 0 to give us y, x minus 3 over 4 is to give us x plus 3 over 4, and 2 over 7 minus 0 we'll have 2 over 7, and 0 minus 3 over 4, this will result into 0 plus 3 over 4, and this will give us 3 over 4. So the left hand side or the right hand side, we will have this to be 2 over 7 multiplied by 4 over 3, and this is y divided by x plus 3 over 4. So in view of this now, if we multiply this out, we will have 8 divided by 21, and this will be y into x plus 3 over 4. So let's cross multiply. Cross multiply now, we'll have 21y is equals to 8 into x plus 3 over 4. And we'll have our final answer to give us 21y is equals to 8x. And 8 multiplied by 3 over 4 would give us 6. Because 4 will divide, 8 will divide 4 by 2. And we'll multiply the remainder by 3. And we'll be left with 6. So this will be the equation of the line of 21y is equals to 8x plus 6. So you can see application of equation of the line when given 2 points. This is 2 points and this is just 1 point. So we are done with WAEC 2023 theory section. Ensure you like, subscribe and share with your friends.